In today's show, we have another multi-topic episode where first we discuss deep fakes. Are they problematic or actually liberating? Then we discuss an unfortunate case of a woman taking her own life after press reporting. Was it the press's fault? And finally we discuss, can a UK charity only serve white families?
And now, the TNT Talk Show, daring to go where other podcasts fear to tread.
Hello, I'm Tony Fasulo, and I share the stage with my esteemed friend and colleague, Tayo Boya. Tayo, hello, my friend, once again. I hope you're keeping safe and well.
Yeah, hey, thank you. It's cool, wonderful. Nice to be here. Lovely to see you guys all. Hello, everyone. What the hell, right?
Completely thrown me.
See what happens?
Over 190 shows, and he hasn't even needed prompted. He's been upbeat, he's been encouraging, he's been smiling. This is what I wanted to see after so long. My God, I don't know how to respond.
You do realize I was kidding, right?
Oh, right. Don't ruin the facade. It was.
No, thank you. No, this is real life now.
Oh.
This is what you get.
Oh dear. There's me hoping that finally there was a breakthrough. Finally, Tayo is actually acknowledging our audience in a more upbeat manner. Alas, I was wrong. He had me wound up.
So that backfired on you and apparently on me. It's even worse now. The lucky ones die first.
Oh, dear me. Anyway, let's get some semblance of normality before we begin with the topics in question. I want to again thank our listeners and watchers for the comments and feedback that they provide. Like I've said before, whatever platform you're consuming our content, be it audio only, and there's loads of different platforms out there, or on video, then please continue to comment. We do get back to you, whatever platform you happen to use, and we do respond. It does take a time occasionally, but we do get there in the end. So please keep those in. We do value that feedback. Right. Now, before we actually talk about the topic, I think Tayo wanted to say a thing. Is that right, Tayo?
Yes. You and I produced a show not too long ago titled, "Did this world-famous religious person ever actually exist?" And I received some comments. Well, we both did, but I think I bore the brunt of it from someone going under the handle of Professor Yaffle, Yaffle, who pointed out that I had made a mistake, that I had misquoted the Bible. When Jesus was pierced, when the Roman soldier pierced Jesus in his side, I said water and vinegar gushed out. In the Bible, it actually says blood and water gushed out. So I'm sorry. Thank you for the correction, Professor Yaffle. I have acknowledged that I made a mistake and I misquoted the Bible there. On the good side, because that's the bad side. On the good side, Professor Yaffle does write, quote, "I'm pleased you said you haven't a clue about what you're talking about. That was the most true thing you said," end quote. Yes, Professor, this is why we always tell you, we're not, I'm not even displeased that you've noted it. I mean, thank you for noting it. We're very proud of the fact that we're a couple of numpties. It's fine. It's fine. We do occasionally get things wrong, but amazingly for such unknowing people, we do amazingly get a lot of things right. So it is what it is. But you're welcome to. Thank you for the comments. And I hope you enjoy this show.
Indeed, indeed. Thank you for those. And as I said, please, please, please keep them coming in. That was one of many. So, yeah, keep those coming in. We do love hearing your feedback, even positive and negative, no matter what. Right, let's move on with today's show. And it is another multi-topic episode. And we hope to cover a number of topics, again, time permitting, of course. And the first one we're talking about is deep fakes. You've obviously heard these in the news. Are these problematic, or are they even liberating? Tyre, you came up with this. So do you want to sort of address why some people could understand they could be problematic, but why liberating?
Well, the liberating is my own take on it. Now, a few years ago, maybe two, before deepfakes became a thing, at least for me, a friend of mine sent me some XXX material, adult material, and it appeared very much to involve Rihanna, and in the one video, Rihanna Johnson, I forget her name now.
I think she's just titled
Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, Scarlett Johansson. Oh, okay. So
and
it's more than one person.
The third party who was in the modern Baywatch. Pretty girl. I can't remember her name either. Now, these three actresses are very well known, have a lot of money, at least comparatively speaking. I mean, is Rihanna an actress? She's a singer.
She has, yeah, she's done acting. Yeah, of course she has.
Okay. So these three celebrities, there we go. Yes?
Yeah.
At least by the average man's standards, they've got a lot of money. And yet they were seemingly taking part in these adult videos. And I couldn't for the life of me figure out why. Now, with one in particular, which was Rihanna, she has visible tattoos.
Yeah.
So I cross-checked the video with the tattoos that I could see on her, and they matched. And everything matched. I was just like, why is she doing this? It's unbelievable. And then someone said, and then I was talking to my friends, and someone said, "Oh, it's a fake video." I was like, how do you fake things so exactly that even the tattoos match? You can actually do a shrink, you can do a screen capture, a shrink of this or that and that, and then rotate the tattoo, and then it's a match. It's like, this is the actual person, if you like, the actual body. And then the person enlightened me about deep fakes, and then I started reading up on them, and I realized, oh my God, these are deep fakes. But strangely enough, since those fakes, I've never seen anything as realistic. So whoever put a lot of time and energy put it into porn, which is unfortunate. Could have put it to other good uses, because that's the best I've ever seen. Unless, of course, it was really them, which is
unlikely.
It is well, like I said, But that unlikely brings me to my point about being liberating. Why not if you are caught doing something, just shrug and go, deep fake. That's it. That's what's liberating about it. You can now pass anything and everything off as a deep fake unless there were actual eyewitnesses. But if you've done something underhanded and you're pretty sure that there were no witnesses, and like modern politicians do, they just stare into the camera and just lie. If you got that kind of mentality, then you just look into the camera and just go, deep fake, obviously. And you walk off.
I suppose some people could do that if they're caught.
Trump.
Trump for
Trump
sure.
Would just say,
inappropriate. Fake news, fake everything.
Fake video.
He walks off. I'm surprised Trump hasn't accosted that song from Shaggy a number of years ago. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. Yeah, so we've got to put reference to Shaggy. Great song. If you've not heard it, look it up and buy it and make him richer than he
Yeah,
was. No, great song. But yeah, it was that song epitomizes exactly what we're talking about. You could say it wasn't me.
it
No
wasn't
matter
me.
caught red-handed, which is
Yeah,
what the song goes
the
about.
song actually says, but
Yeah.
she's got me on camera. I think that's
Yeah.
one of the lines.
Yeah.
One of the lines. But
Yeah.
she's got me on camera. It
It
wasn't me.
wasn't me. Yeah.
And
And
you just stick to it. Well, deep fake. Why
indeed.
would somebody deep fake you? Well, because they want to split us up. Because you're so beautiful. You see that they really. So
Oh
they split it. They
dear.
want to split us up. Blah, blah, blah. It's a deep fake, but I wouldn't do that to you. Liberating deep fakes. Everyone
I'm
gets to
not
be.
sure about that. Okay. I mean, it
Unless
was
the
that.
police. I mean, just this
Well,
afternoon, I
hmm.
was involved in speed awareness course for people living outside the UK.
uh,
A speed awareness course is when you're caught speeding.
you caught speeding? Never.
Yeah,
The front of your car, I've seen you. It glows red when I've seen you drive past. Good grief. And you've only just been caught. Goodness me.
and it was an actual accident.
Oh.
I drive using my cruise control. So this car, a newer car, I didn't know it worked that way. I was coming out of a 40 mile per hour limit zone and going into a 30 zone. I did control it. I thought I had controlled it, but I hadn't. So I was still doing 40 when I went past the police van.
Oh, great.
You can imagine. I'm doing 40 in the 30 zone. So they did
Ooh.
want to have a word with me, so to speak.
Yeah.
However, they offered me the speed awareness course. I jumped on it. And the long-winded story is just, all I'm trying to say is you can't claim what this video is called again?
Deep
Deep
fake.
fake. You can't claim a deep fake if it's the police that is producing. I thought about going to court and say, Your Honor, deep fake.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't me. But it doesn't work like that
Very,
with the
very
police.
difficult to get out of that
Very
one.
difficult to pull it off. It was
Okay. I mean, in all seriousness, regarding this topic, I mean, it is actually a problem because a lot of stars are being tarnished because of a lot of these deep fakes. And as you said at the beginning of the show, the porn industry is the one that makes the money from it because a lot of the deep fakes are, unfortunately, to do with pornography because there's a market there clearly. The people creating the deep fakes understand this, that if they can create celebrities that already have a fan base in the porno market, then they're going to likely make money from it. So the investment in order to get those deep fakes created is worth the effort. Now, as you say, whoever created the one for Rihanna must have really done their homework, really utilized the latest tech and produced
That was 2 or
something.
3 years ago, so I'm amazed. I mean, it was seriously good.
I would like to see it just for research purposes.
Yeah, a lot of people
course,
would love to see it for
just to see and compare with modern day deepfakes. No, but also
it's far better. It's far better than.
all joking aside, it would have been. It's interesting that we normally for the research of our show you share material, but that one you didn't share, which is quite strange. But anyway,
it's an actual video. It's not a link. I share links.
Oh, I see.
But there's no way of sharing videos, as far as I know, on our show.
No, it is quite
I could put them up onto a web. I could create a web page for us and put them up. But is that really what we want on our?
Or
stuff,
if you use, yeah, it's not ideal. No, you don't want to do that sort of thing. Really.
I'm pretty sure it must be famous by now. I mean, I can't be the only one. I mean, it came to me from a friend. I'm sure he didn't distribute it to just me.
Yeah.
Sure, we'll get out. But then again, I haven't actually passed it on to anyone else. So.
No. I mean, there was one circulating not that long ago about Tom Cruise. I don't know if you saw it.
No.
Yeah, it was very good. It was on TikTok, and it was done for entertainment, really, and that was quite good. And it obviously showed a younger version of Tom Cruise talking about stuff. But for that was entertainment purposes. So yes, you're using his brand to promote something. You're on dodgy ground already. But at least it wasn't portraying him in a poor light, as would a pornographic deep fake video for a particular celebrity, because obviously they wouldn't have agreed to do that, and certainly wouldn't have wanted somebody to create their image without their consent in something like a porno video.
Hmm.
So, but the fact in this case for Tom Cruise, they didn't portray him in a negative light, but he just looked younger, and he was talking about, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was well done again, but for entertainment purposes. Again, it did the rounds. Whether it's been taken down, I don't know, but it is difficult, because as these deep fakes get better and better, as no, as they will, because let's be honest, where we're at now is the worst they're going to be.
Hmm.
You think about it, everything going forward is going to improve, and there will be situations where you cannot tell the difference. And wasn't there recently um somebody did the brought back the Beatles as a
Uh,
deep fake?
well, I don't. I mean, apparently, if it's not porn, I don't get to see it because
Okay, you only get the
it's got to
porn
be.
sent your way.
It's either porn, or I believe I'm looking to see if I actually sent you this one, which was it wasn't done particularly well, but I think it wasn't done particularly well to ensure that everybody knew it was a fake.
Right.
So they
It was
weren't
done on
trying.
purpose.
It
Yeah,
was done
yeah,
on
yeah.
purpose. It was purposefully bad, if you like, and it was Donald Trump, Biden, and I believe Putin or someone else rapping. About
Oh,
the present geopolitics. It was really funny. It was very well
yeah,
done.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it was
yeah.
very funny.
You see,
So
for humorous
for humorous
reasons, then
reasons,
it's
it should be
great. It
fine. Yeah,
works, and
and it's clear
yeah,
that it's a fake.
of
But when
course.
you get to people saying, for instance, Trump is really hated in America. Well, it's really hated all over the world, I suppose, but in America in particular. Now, you get someone putting him into a video where he's clearly doing something illegal or immoral, just in time to help sway the emotions for when people go to vote. That's actually an attack on democracy. The people doing it won't see it as that. They see it as if they were defending democracy. But the fact of the matter is, you are manipulating the voter in an underhanded way. So
Well,
if
that's
he
subliminal, isn't it? You're not actually directly saying, "Oh, Trump is bad. He's bad at his personality or his policies." You're actually undermining him subliminally, making him look foolish. But people,
No, I didn't say foolish. I said if he
well,
does find him doing something. For instance, if you put him in realistically in a situation where he's groping a woman of which he's being accused, and you do this for just about 2 or 3 days to the elections before anybody can really delve down deep into the video and say this woman doesn't even exist, for goodness sakes,
yeah,
or something like that, or when this was published, it was actually somewhere else. If you don't give people enough time, the haters will spread it. It will spread like wildfire.
yeah,
And some people who were on the edge of should I vote for him or not, not vote for him, they could be swayed, and that could make the difference. So I'm just saying that's where it gets dangerous when people are using it maliciously and
mm,
intelligently.
yeah.
Then it
But the
gets
thing is it
dangerous.
not even? It's been used already, hasn't it? I heard a story in Pakistan where something like that happened, where AI was used to create a deep fake of one of the politicians to undermine a fellow competitor in the election race.
No, there you go. I mean, I'm not at all surprised. Just uh, as obviously as people try things out, they'll find what works and what doesn't work, and then. But I think it'll. You see, I think the good news is where we're already headed. We won't believe video evidence.
No, I know.
And I think it's a good thing. I think you can produce things and people just go, well, I don't know. I'm not, we need something to back it up. Like I said, we need eyewitnesses. You need credible eyewitnesses to back up the video. That, okay, there's video, and then there are these 3 or 4 credible people who were there. That's fine.
I think the way to do it is you have to then rely on more than one video source. That way, it's very difficult to deep fake from different angles. It
Hmm.
creates a whole different ball game as far as creating a video is concerned. Because in a real video of when you're filming two cameras on one area, you get all the perspective and the changes and the shadows that are replicated between the two. If if a deep fake was created and they couldn't bring out two cameras from two different angles, then you would have to question that video. And I think there's going to be more and more examples of places which, to prove a video is genuine, they're going to have two actual angles where the video is filmed from. And those two, when they're brought together, will show that whatever happened in that video was captured genuinely. When you only have a single lens, then it can be manipulated like it can here. But when you've got to manipulate a deep fake image that you've created from a different angle, that's a whole different ball game. So it's not saying it's you know, you're never going to get around it, but that adds more complexity to trying to figure this out. But the
No,
other thing I think we touched on before, sorry to jump in, was
sorry.
I think it was you came up with it, some sort of security token on the film. Was that you that suggested that? You know, that we use not
The
encryption, those
the
ledgers.
timestamp thing.
Yeah, the ledgers and things that we have now. You know, the Bitcoin uses a ledger, so you know that it's distributed. So how they use it is you create something once and it's spread out, so all of them have the same copy, so you can't manipulate it, because you try and edit one, it's all the others will know that that one's been amended.
No, that's what the North Koreans do. That do something like that. Every computer stamps everything that passes. Every North Korean computer stamps everything that it transfers on, which is fantastic. I mean, talk about a totalitarian state. I admire the thoroughness of that logic, you know,
Wow.
and I'm really impressed by the superior sort of malice involved. We
Wow.
know who you are.
Well,
and
but
it's fantastic.
yeah. But the thing is, they will have to incorporate something along those lines in all camera equipment.
Ah, but it's a free society, you see. We don't want you to do that, because we want you to be we want you to be a serf, which is a complicated argument, and I'm not going to make it here, but when that's not going to happen in our society. No, about the two camera angles thing, I think, well, that'll just be more computing power. That's what you're actually saying. It's just more computing power, which is available or will become available. So I don't think that's an issue. But there was this case we discussed about someone being caught on a door camera stealing an Amazon package or some kind of package that was on the porch. So this person stole the package, and there was the view from the door camera, and the people who were trying to argue, because the Canadian police said you can't publicize
That's right.
that, but there's someone else with another camera, a passerby, I believe, who caught the scene from somewhere entirely different, from basically from the road.
Right.
So there were two views, and that kind of kiboshed any argument that it wasn't that person. And so a lot of arguments were like, there is still a presumption of innocence, but it's going to be very easy to destroy that presumption in court, because you got these two different cameras and showing exactly the same thing. And you really explain that away, that you know, it's a thing. No, it's not. You were caught.
And that's what I mean. So if you've got two camera angles at a completely different place, and that's one thing that the people won't know about. So if anyone's creating a deep fake, even if they try to produce a second camera angle, they don't know where that camera is in relation to the video. Do you see what I mean? So you've got a real camera angle, and there's going to be like, okay, between the first and the second one, there's a certain degree difference. You know what that is. You could potentially work it out if you see the footage, but if you're creating and showing two different angles from, it's very, very difficult to work out all the bits needed to fake too. It does make it incredibly hard to fake. But anyway, that's with deep fakes. So I'm still thinking that, I mean, there's good uses of this technology, obviously, in the film industry, although it will put actors out of business eventually.
Is that a bad thing?
But I think we touched on it as well. Once you get this technology up and running, we can recreate actors who have long since passed away. What if we bring back John Wayne for films? We could
No,
do
not a
Elvis
great
Presley.
not great examples.
No,
I
but do you
mean,
know what I mean? Or Marilyn Monroe even. So
yeah,
you
well,
know,
should be
yeah. So you
nice to
could
see her
bring
again.
some of these back. Where does it stop? Where does it stop? Because the technology would be that good that you can actually superimpose or get actors of today talking to other actors, and then we over the top superimpose one of the deceased characters. You get some really
I'm
interesting.
old school on this. You know, they're dead. Let them go, man. Let them go. They're dead. They deserve a rest. And you're still using them. I mean, they're dead, and you're still using them. You know, and you can't. For me, I'd say this thing where I like to do, where I like to pretend that I'm emperor of the world or whatever. My law would be very simple: is get the permission, and then feel free to use them. But get the permission. Well, you can't get the permission, so don't use them. You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Would they? A lot of them have got. I mean, think about people born in the turn of the last century. Very different mores and morals from ours today. And then you put them into some homosexual scene or something. They're not that's not going to be something they'd ever have agreed to when they were alive.
No.
So exactly, you've got to take that sort of thing into consideration. That would they want their image used in that way? Well, obviously the answer is no. So the easiest and simplest thing to do is do not use their images. However, if you were extending and making an additional scene which stuck very closely to the original story, let us suppose you wanted to, you've been watching The Wizard of Oz with that young lady.
Oh, you've picked an interesting one, but I know what you mean.
You know where everybody knows.
Most people should know who she is, but I can't for the life of me. The
I
name
can see
escapes
her
me.
face as
Yeah.
clear as everything. I can't remember
Judy
her name.
Garland.
Judy Garland. Well done. Judy Garland. So if you just be looking and you think to yourself, do you know what? If we had this scene, that would have just made it perfect. And you resurrect Judy Garland and her companions or well, co-stars, and then you create that scene, and it fit. And you weren't doing something woke with it, but how do you ensure it isn't woke? You see, but you want to do something woke with it. That would be perfect. I don't think that would be a problem.
Wow.
But it's such a slippery slope that it's probably best to just say
Leave it.
you can't get permission. You have to leave it to
But the
know.
thing is, think about it, right? As far as the companies are concerned, they're in it to make money.
Yeah, that's the problem.
They're not in it to think about what's right and wrong. They're in it to make money. And if you've got a ready-made star, unfortunately has passed away, that's still got a draw factor. So if their name appeared at the cinema, people go, "Oh wow, I want to go and watch that." And they've got that factor. And so they would spend money to get that person in a film using AI than trying to get a new and upcoming actor who's not really established to do a similar thing. You're going to use a similar actor. I mean, I'll give an example, one that I've been to just recently myself. ABBA, the group. Okay. They have a venue in London and it's called the ABBA Arena. And you can actually go and watch ABBA perform a concert there live. It's amazing. I've been twice. Fantastic. So if anyone's thinking about going, go. It is incredible.
Now, give the disclaimer.
Okay.
Give the disclaimer.
Disclaimer, what do you mean?
Well, that you're not actually earning any money.
I'm not. I'm not. No, I'm not earning any money. It's just literally
ladies
a
and
great
gentlemen,
experience.
This is Tony the Knife. Yeah. You have to double check. He hasn't got major shares.
No. I'm not benefiting from this in any way, but I'm just recommending it. But that is almost AI because you are seeing the characters of ABBA who are now in their late 60s, early 70s performing like they were on the stage now. And how they did it is the artists re-sang the songs, the original songs, but AI was superimposed onto their images of when they were young, performing in the past. And I'm not joking, they are fantastic.
So you're not watching. So when you go there, you're not seeing people on the stage. You're watching
No.
a film or something.
You're watching like a film, but it's done in 3D. It's incredible, honestly.
All right. So what's this called again?
ABBA Voyage.
ABBA Voyage London.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
It's
that'll be cool.
brilliant. Honestly, brilliant day out. It's a concert. If you like ABBA songs, you'll love it.
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
feels
I was
like
playing them the other day.
yeah, it feels like you're at an ABBA concert, and it's AI, and you can tell with some of them, some of the songs it's AI, but some of them are so good, and you think, wow, and great atmosphere because everybody's in an arena like you would in a concert, and it does affect you in a massive way. Go on.
Actually, this is an aside, complete aside. Speaking of ABBA, like I said, I was listening to their music the other day, and I came across one of the early concerts. I am going to share the video with you, but obviously, I don't know how we're going to share with the audience. I don't
Is
think
it
we
not on
want to.
YouTube that we can share a link?
I'll see.
Okay.
Yes. Well, I don't think we're going to want to
Oh,
because you know the dark-haired girl.
yeah.
Okay, because the names I never did know their names.
Aneta, I think. No, is it Aneta?
One is Aneta, and one is Anna Frida or something, which I have no idea.
Okay.
So, well, I've been a numpty for quite a long time. Okay. Anyway, she was dancing so lasciviously
Okay.
that I was like, actually, what the hell is this? I shared this with a friend group of mine, and we're like, what was the matter with that? It is really like, is everything okay? Yeah. So anyway, I don't know. It jumped into my mind that I'd go to this venue you're talking about, and we're like, what's the matter with Tony? Why did he send me to?
No. Trust me.
Huh?
If you go, you'll love it.
Okay, it's
if you
nice
do
and
like their
stay.
music, you'll love it. Honestly, it's
No, I do love the
fantastic
music.
experience.
Yeah.
You'll enjoy it.
Unfortunately, I can sing quite a lot of the music, with
Yeah.
them. So that's
Okay.
the boomer. I'm a
No,
boomer.
very good, very good. Anyway, let's move on here because I want to get to the end of this topic and talk on others. So, the other aspect of it is deep fakes could cause a lot of misery in terms of mimicking people for fraudulent activity.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was a case, wasn't there, recently where the deep fakes actually got through a security because they mimicked somebody who was well known, and the security actually let them through. And they were able to get 35 million pounds or dollars out of accounts because of that access. So the technology created, like an imposter who was able to circumvent the security. So there's the dark side of this, and it makes it harder for the security services to detect what's fake and what isn't, especially if it's I'll give you an example where deep fake could be really utilized, and I don't want to give ideas to our listeners here, but imagine this: you're not deep faking a famous person. You're deep faking just someone, Joe Public, who's relatively successful, but not that well known. That way, you're not going to A-lister territory that everybody knows who they are, but you're dipping underneath the water level, but you're convincing enough that most people couldn't tell if the deep fake person was actually real or not. And there's examples of this on Instagram now where there's characters that have been created that are totally AI generated, but they've got fans and they're pretty women actually, and they are stunning, and they move around, they dance, and they look amazing. But unless you scrutinize, you think they're real, but they're not. And people are hoodwinked into liking the page and all sorts.
Isn't a Korean gentleman suing one of these people now because he proposed
And found out it was an AI.
and found out? So he's suing the publisher.
Well,
which is probably what we need to do. And then we just probably need to just sue a few people. The law will sort it out eventually. I'm a bit blasé about all this. I'm not really concerned, Tony, as you can tell from my general sort of tone. I think it'll be fine. I think the law will have to catch up
yeah,
to new
that's the
technology,
problem. It's always behind.
as it
Yeah,
always
indeed.
does. And then we'll find out what's legal and feasible and what isn't and
Okay.
isn't permissible.
Okay. So you're not too, you think it's more liberating than problematic.
I think it's really liberating. Apart from when the police have nailed you with a radar gun and all that sort of thing, as they nailed me. Apart from that, I'm just going to go with the shaggy way. Just you know what,
It
that
wasn't
wasn't
me.
that wasn't me. I wasn't
Okay.
even there, pal. I wasn't there.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to another topic. Now, this one's slightly not as upbeat as the previous one, where we have a woman who
Oh,
who took her own life after press reported on her doing something on a beach. So the question really is, I mean, I'll ask Tyre to elaborate what was she doing, but was the press to blame for her taking her own life? And that's the question. But Tyre, do you want to elaborate as to what this woman was actually accused of doing?
I'm pretty sure I've spoken about this on an earlier show with you, but when I asked you again, you seem to have forgotten.
Oh,
There
I
was
know
a
what it
woman.
is. I know what's happened, but I'm asking you to talk about it.
Yes,
Yeah.
there was a woman. We first meet her from the point of view of a police camera, which they're required to carry, required to carry now in the United States. And from the camera, the officer walks up to the woman. She's with a group of friends at a beachside bar. And they say, "Could we have a word with you?" She said, "Well, ask what's going on." They said, "Well, let's just have a word privately." So she goes along with them. They take her and they walk towards the sea and in a more private place to say, someone has called us in. We've been called in because a family complained that they saw you earlier in the day pleasuring yourself with a sex toy. At first, the woman denied it. The police asked to search her bag. She didn't want to, but I think under under a statute called plausible suspicion or
Deniability?
no,
No.
yeah, some kind of they have a right because they suspect there's suspicion. So they did search the bag and they found the toy. And then she said, "Well, I was feeling a bit tense and I just wanted to, get rid of the tension." And I said, "Yeah, well, it was actually in public. Children saw you, so that was unfortunate for them. So, yeah, we're going to arrest you." And they led her away in handcuffs. Now, that was somehow, for some reason, uploaded to news service. And the news, obviously, it's a juicy story. They spread it. And that was it. Most of us forgot about it. I discussed it. I believe I discussed it with you. I said, why has society gotten to the point where people are pleasuring themselves in public in America, at any rate, or in the West? And then, a few days ago, less than a week ago, I believe, I came across another story saying, "Have you heard this woman was found deceased due to?" Now, this is if you want to publish this to YouTube, you know what? Naff YouTube. We're on Buzzsprout. This woman was found deceased due to suspected of self-inflicted gunshot wound because she had a wound to her head and the gun was in her hand. And apparently she'd been sacked. She'd been fired from her place of work, which I strongly disagree with. And she had taken it to heart. Women are more, and by the way, I'm MGTOW, so I'm no friend, okay, of the females of the species. So I'm not trying to simp here by any means. But we ourselves, as MGTOW, we notice that women take very great consequence of their reputation. So if it is sullied in any way, it affects them far more than it would a man. And it sounds as if she didn't have the social infrastructure of friends and so on and relatives to back her up. So unfortunately, isolated as such, people hadn't seen her in a while. Maybe she just took, she made that long-term decision for what I would have said was a temporary problem. My dad put it perfectly when he said suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. It's but that's an
It's not
aside.
good though.
It's an aside. It's an aside. But while we're discussing this, is that I was shocked by the number of people who attacked the news organizations. Now, it looks to me as if people just don't use their brains anymore. Or if they do, they even have brains. It's getting to the point where we can ask a reasonable question that, have we been overtaken by brainless aliens? It's like the what is it called again? The body snatchers.
Yeah,
what's
invasion of
the
the body snatchers.
invasion of the body snatchers? Have we been slowly replaced by brainless nematodes or something? Because why would you blame the news organization for doing what news organizations are there to do? It's you. Personal responsibility seems to be going out of the window. You have a responsibility to not pleasure yourself in public if, when you're caught, you are going to be embarrassed by that, because there are some exhibitionists who would have reveled in the notoriety. They'd have been on talk shows. They'd have made money out of it. So if you're not that kind of a person and you're a shy person, well, then you shouldn't be doing this in public. So you can't blame others, because we all know how it's going to work out in the end. So that's my point.
I mean, this woman herself, her name was Christina Revels Glick.
I don't think we should name her.
No, she's passed away. She was 36. So it's common knowledge. It just happened a few years ago. And
what?
It's not now.
I thought it all just happened very
It happened
recently.
in December. The thing was reported in December, but she actually died in 2022, March 2022.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it wasn't recent.
So they were actually reporting on a dead person.
Yeah, they were reporting on a dead person after the incident.
So
what
that
happened?
That makes it even less of their responsibility.
Indeed. But what happened, it blew up more after she passed away. She did get some attention at the time. And what was worse was that the family actually, apparently, I haven't seen the footage myself, but apparently they filmed her. She looked around, didn't see the family directly behind her, thought she was alone, pleasured herself, and the family saw it and took a photo or video of it. Now, if that's true, that they took the video of her, why are they taking the video of her and then sharing that with the police? And that's what
proof. Well, sharing it with the police, yes. If they published it after that, then
we think
they were
that's
wrong.
what went out, and that's how the problem started.
No, I never saw anything like that. I saw the police camera. I saw the police cam.
The thing I was reading was saying that, but she died. She died, obviously, under the way you've described it. But it was also to do with drink and drugs. She couldn't deal with the attention, and so the family were heartbroken. But it was quite a while after. It was 8 months after the incident, and so she spiraled downwards. So it wasn't all to do with the press. It was to do with the fact that she was singled out and she couldn't deal with the shame and the guilt of it. And that's what affected her mentally, which led her down this road. So
but she was fired, yes?
I don't actually have that information. So that was news to me that she was fired.
So you lose your job, that's going to give you more.
Yeah.
If you lose your job, that's going to give you even more time to mull on things in a negative sort of way. If you're busy and you're at work and, I mean, if the office just had just loaded her with more work at the time to take her mind off things, that would have been far more helpful than firing her. And I have no idea why the office would want to get involved. Anyway, I mean, she wasn't wearing their logo. It was nothing. How would you even know where she even works?
Well,
anyway,
the thing is, she was found by the landlady who hadn't heard from her because she'd missed a rent payment. And but the family did say that she went off the rails, and the actual incident happened in 2021. So she died in 2022, and she'd
Yeah.
gone off the rails, and this was according to the family members. So it was when it wasn't shared on social media, but someone found it and then shared that body cam footage to social media. It wasn't shared by the police or the authorities or anyone else.
But how could they find it? I mean, it had to be a police officer. I mean, who else had access to it? Come
Well,
on.
I don't know. This is the thing. This is the grey area here.
It must have been police, because that's the people. Those are the people who had the video. I'm talking about the video of the police arresting her now.
Yes.
I'm not talking about the video of her pleasure and stuff, which I've not seen, by the
No,
way.
I don't think that was made available
Exactly.
anywhere.
So I'm talking
it
about
was
the
only a
police.
family's word.
Yes. As far as I knew at the time, it was just the family saying, look, we've seen this person, made the allegation, the police investigated, found out it was true, because again, she confessed to it. And by the way, if you're ever on the internet, reading the law about solicitors, what they say about the law, about lawyers in America, whenever you have anything to do with the police, even if you are the accuser, they say it's always best to have a solicitor or a lawyer with you, even if you are the accuser, because the police could turn around and start fishing on you. Now, this is what they say. Now, I wouldn't have taken it that far, but definitely, if the police rock up and they're accusing you of something, keep your mouth shut. Keep your mouth shut. Just say, you know what? I like to talk to a lawyer. They say, well, if you don't, it can be used. This can be used in evidence against you. Say, well, when my lawyer arrives, I'm happy to cooperate with you in every way that he or she advises me to.
Yeah.
I'm not a lawyer. I don't know what the situation is. I'm just going to keep quiet until I find out. I believe that's my right, and it is.
Yeah.
And stick to it like spaghetti to sauce on spaghetti.
Not heard that analogy. I quite like it. So, I mean, okay. So what do you think then? Do you think, therefore, that the press is somewhat to blame for this or not?
No, I'm a strongly pro self-regulation. You take responsibility for your actions. Don't try to blame it on anyone else. It's up to you. You did it. That's it. I went speeding past the camera. I've taken responsibility. I did it. My bad. Let's not try to say the police shouldn't have been there. Blah, 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 yada, yada. No, nothing like that.
It's choices.
It's choices. You made a bad choice. You live with it. And don't send yourself off.
Yeah, you don't need to. Mistakes happen. We all make mistakes.
It will pass.
Yes.
It will pass.
Indeed. And it's just a tragedy that she just went off the rails and caused
moved to
her
another
demise.
country, moved to the Honduras, and get a real estate job there. A lot of people do.
Slightly difficult because she had two sons, a 19-year-old from her first relationship and a 15-year-old from a marriage, a recent one.
The 15-year-old may have been having some flack in school.
Yeah, it could have been difficult, really, for the kids. But I mean, she was a single mum, but doing okay. She's had a good job, good car, nice house. So she wasn't, struggling in any way. So she was actually doing quite well. But she must
have been struggling in some way to have pleasured herself on the beach.
Well, yeah, she wasn't struggling financially. Let's put it that way.
Good.
Not financially.
Yes.
So she was okay. But the fact was that this then led to her demise. Is it's a shame. It's a catalogue of events that went wrong.
Yeah.
That have led her down that road.
The boys in a better situation either.
Well, indeed, which is such a shame. Okay, I mean, I'm with you. I don't believe the press are at fault with this at all. They just report, and that's what they do, and they should do. If they're intruding in someone's private life, that's different. But in this case, it was a public beach, and she really should not have done what she did. Exactly. I mean, if anything, if you're feeling that way, go into the toilet. Go to the toilet. Not in a public place. I mean, it's madness at the time. looking back on it at the time, she may have thought that had a moment of madness, but we all have moments of madness. It should never ever lead to a state of
To be
something.
fair, though, I've never actually pleasured myself in public. I mean,
No,
that's
indeed,
woof,
indeed, that's
that's
not a good
whoa.
thing. Certainly not. Let's keep it there.
This is not whoa. That's a
Right.
bit.
Let's leave
Whoa.
that one now. Let's try and get
I mean,
another.
I get embarrassed watching the dark-haired girl in ABBA on my phone. I get embarrassed and I switch it off. Like, what the hell
Oh
is this?
no. Maybe I shouldn't suggest going down to London and see her on the big screen because it's incredible,
You know
honestly.
something? This numpty thing you're talking about, it's getting out of hand. What's the name of the show again?
ABBA Voyage. It's honestly, it's fantastic.
ABBA
Voyage.
Voyage.
Yeah.
I
Really
assume
good.
it's the pretentious spelling of voyage, which in other words is the same spelling, voyage, but we're just saying voyage.
Yeah, Voyage. Yes.
So actually, it's ABBA Voyage.
Yeah.
It's
actually, especially
when we put aside all the pretensions,
yes,
Tony.
indeed. Yes,
it's actually
indeed.
ABBA Voyage. Okay, cool.
but if you go down, honestly, you will enjoy it.
Yeah,
and,
no, I'll let you know. Maybe we should do a review of it when I've watched it. So
yeah. I mean, like I said, I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
Would be what is this? Advertising for people who are already stinking rich. So I don't know.
Well, they'd enjoy it no matter what. Right, we have got a few minutes left and we can squeeze in another topic, which is fantastic. So the third one we want to talk about is, can a charity only serve white families?
In the UK.
In the UK.
A charity in the UK. Can a charity in the UK only serve white families?
Yeah.
Because it's important that it's in the UK. Because in the UK, why I say, of course they can, is because in the UK we have charities that serve only non-white families.
Indeed.
And if it's good for the goose, it must be good for the gander. You can't have one law, because that really is racist at that point.
Yes.
There's one law for one set of people and another law for another set of people. Well, that's the classic definition of racism.
Indeed.
So it's a nonsensical idea. So the story behind this is that there is a charity that sends toys to children of poor white families at Christmas. That's what they exist to do. And we have here something really Orwellian called the Office of, what's it called, Tony? Office of Equality?
It's not Office of Equality, is it? There's equality law, but I don't know if it's an office.
There's an actual
Equality
office.
Act 2020.
No, that's an act. There's an actual office of equality or something, and Professor Yaffle is going to be going, aha, see, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I'll look it up in a second. There's an Office of Equality, and it was their CEO or their Tsar, or whatever you want to call her, diversity, inclusion, or whatever. She wrote to this charity saying, if you don't include others, you are actually breaking the law.
Yeah.
And then they wrote back and said, hang on, there are other charities that, why are you singling us out?
Yeah.
So that's how it all came about. I think the charity's got a very good point. Now, whether they've got a strong case, that's different. They might have a good point, but the white part of the UK right now seems to be like a giant lemming rushing towards a giant cliff at terrific speed. I do strongly believe that there's something gone very wrong with the white people's psyche in this, not just in the UK, but in Europe and in what I'll call the West, the collective West, which obviously includes Australia, in some degree, in some part, New Zealand, and Canada, and then Europe, America, obviously. There seems to be some kind of suicidal gene that's been activated, because why would this be an argument? Why is this a problem even? And I sent you a video.
Is this to do with the privilege thing that was banding about, that white privilege, and so everyone is feeling guilty? So that
Well, I
if
can't talk about it. I don't have white privilege, so
no, I
you're the
know,
one.
but isn't that part of this where white people have been persecuted, but made to understand they had white privilege, and so if a charity is only catering for white people, it's almost whoa, we can't be seen doing that. That's not right, without looking at the detail, because this we've had a Supreme Court ruling in the UK in 2020, October 2020, that UK charities, so it doesn't come up again, they can restrict services to those with protected characteristics without breaching equality law. And this was passed in October 2020, and it was a landmark ruling so that charities, if they choose from the outset to serve a particular demographic because they identify that that demographic needs their support, then that is absolutely fine. Now, they can't set up a charity and then not make that clear and then exclude a demographic. They can't do that. But if they start at the outset with their intention and explain it's only for this demographic of people, because, for instance, there are some charities that only cater to women.
Mm-hmm.
So the same applies. Are you being, is that it not equal for men if
No, no,
men
it's
need it?
not.
So do you see what I mean? It's
No, no, it's not, because obviously we don't know who the woman is. So that's the problem. I could just rock up and just say I'm a woman, and that's that, isn't it? So I don't know. That's not a
leave
good
that
example.
aside. I'm talking charities set up specifically to meet women's needs. So they're absolutely fine with doing that, and I dare say there are charities just catered for men's needs.
Yet the feminists strongly oppose them and always argue against, well, I say always, I don't suppose it's in 100% of all feminists that do, but in a large percentage of feminists have beef with men's charities, and it's one of the things that the manosphere is fighting against and saying,
Indeed.
what's your problem?
There was a funny case actually where you're right, that happened to a UK charity that got lambasted by women saying, why is this only catering for men? And the I don't know whether this was a joke or it was true, but it came across in an email to me and I read it up. It was a prostate cancer charity.
Yes, yes. No, I was going to mention prostate cancer. I
Yeah,
was actually about to say it's one of the things, prostate cancer, and they said, well, you ought to try breast cancer, and then the answer is, oh, well, you ought to try prostate cancer. Duh.
yeah,
It's like, what are you talking about?
yeah, indeed.
The
But
idea
they were
being,
making a fuss about it.
well, the thing is this: it's not a zero sum game. It's not a zero sum game. So the people who need help need help.
Mm,
That's it.
yeah,
If poor white children at Christmas would be great if they had Christmas toy from Christmas present from Father Christmas.
yeah,
If you just take it from that point of view, it's very humanistic and everyone can get on board, right? Because if someone feels that, well, there are poor black children who don't get it, well, you can ask that charity to expand. You can point out to them that, you know what, there are all these other children who don't get it. How about you just give it to everyone if you can?
yeah,
And if you can't, I tell you what, get off your bottom and go out there and start your own charity.
yeah, indeed,
Yeah, no
indeed.
problem.
No, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, there's another instance about it as well, which that one charity was set up for Orthodox Jewish families, and they're not white, they're not black. Jewish people are sort of in between, but there was hoo-ha about that. But their criteria was you have to be Orthodox Jew to be helped. So that was the criteria of the charity. So that's who they're catering for. So it's a strange one, this, why why there's been uproar about why charities are challenged on who they cater to. Because if they're generic, they'll cater to everybody. But if they've been created specifically for a one particular need, why are people, you don't have to give money, do you? At the end of the day, you can't then moan, as you say, to the charity, oh, you should also include these people. Well, if you want a charity that includes all demographics, then as you rightly say, go out and set one up.
Yep. Nothing's
It's
going to
as
stop
simple
you.
as that. Exactly. It's as simple as that. So it's a strange one, but I mean, we've reached the top of the hour here, so we really should start to conclude. Do you have any more on this particular one and what your views are, or do you agree with
I
the
was trying
take?
to find the name of the government office in that is responsible for this sort of thing, but I can't find it in time. But I'll try
Is it
to.
a commission or something? The Equalities Commission?
No, there we go, something like that.
Yeah, I thought it was something like that. It's
Yeah,
not
Quarters Commission, England,
right.
and there is the link that I sent to you. You can now share it with
Our audience, yeah,
our audience. Yeah.
wonderful.
And I'll try
Okay.
to find the story also and send it. I think I did actually. If it's in our Trello,
Okay, if you can find that and just link it back, then I can add it to the
I will
blurb
do.
for when our show goes out.
Mhm.
Okay, so in conclusion, because I'm mindful of the time, we have reached the top of the hour. So the question was, can a charity only serve white only families? I think we've pretty much answered that.
Mhm.
They
Yes.
certainly can in the UK. I don't know elsewhere around the globe or in Europe even. This is certainly a UK only law that does allow it, but it would be interesting to hear from our listeners and our audience out there. Do you have examples of this offshore elsewhere apart from the UK, whether this happens in other countries, and do you get flack? I don't know.
By the way, just because I say I don't say anything, it's not illegal or anything, doesn't mean I'm happy with it. I
Okay.
think just serve children. But since they choose not to, it's fine with the law, and it's fine. It's okay with me. I mean, it's like you get a pass. I'm not going to donate
Money. No,
money to
if you
you,
don't agree with who they're looking after, then you
but
don't have to give
I
money. At
wouldn't
the end of the
donate
day,
money to
yeah,
an all black children thing, believe it
yeah,
or not, because I'd ask again,
mm,
why just black children? Why
yeah.
can't you just
It
donate money to
should be,
poor
you know,
children? Poor children.
independent of skin color. Yeah,
The
exactly.
skin
Should be
color
just the
doesn't.
fact that children, because do you know what? Children don't care about skin color. It's
Exactly, until we teach
adults
them
that
to.
do.
Until we teach
Indeed.
them to. And I'll
Indeed.
say one other thing to prove that I'm like that. Let's not forget that I'm the one on this show who argued against Black Lives Matter. My argument being all lives matter.
Indeed.
Hmm.
Right. I mean, we've reached, yeah, unfortunately, we have reached the end of the show for another week.